Today we're going to talk about factoring and isolating the variable. We're going to do 3 different examples. Here are the first 2 examples. Example 1 is x squared plus 6x equals 0. We're going to solve this equation. First thing to realize when you're solving a quadratic equation by factoring is we need the quadratic equation to be written in standard form. You know, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. This one is already written in standard form. We're just missing the c constant. So now we can factor the left side, and we notice that there's x's in both terms, so we could pull an x out up front, and so we're going to have left over an x plus 6, and that's going to equal 0. And now we're going to use the zero product property, so we can take both products, which is x and x plus 6, and then we're going to set both of them equal to 0. And we're going to solve both, so x equals 0 is just going to be x equals 0, and we're going to have or, and we're going to subtract 6 from both sides, and so we're going to get x equals negative 6. And so our solution set for this one is going to be 0, comma, negative 6 in the squirrely brackets. Example 2, 2x squared equals x plus 3. First thing we want to do is get this in standard form. So we're going to subtract x and subtract 3 from both sides of the equation, and we're going to get 2x squared minus x minus 3 equals 0. And now we can factor the left side. So we need to make our brackets, and we're going to make our first term has to do with our first term in the quadratic. So it's going to be a 2x and an x. Okay, so 2 times 1 will give us 2, and x times x is going to give us x squared. And now for the last term, it has to multiply to be negative 3, but add to be a negative 1. So the only terms we have for negative 3 is we're going to have a negative 1 and a positive 3, or a negative 3 and a positive 1. And you can just plug and chug until you figure it out. So I'm going to plug in a negative 3 here and a positive 1 here. And I'm going to FOIL to check my work. So we're going to get 2x squared plus 2x minus 3x minus 3. And this actually indeed comes out with a negative x in the middle. So this is correct. So we're going to set this equal to 0. And we're going to use our zero product property. So we're going to set each product equal to 0. So we're going to have 2x minus 3 equals 0 and x plus 1 equals 0. And then we're going to solve each. So we're going to add 3 to both sides, and we're going to get 2x equals 3. And then we're going to divide by 2, so we're going to get x equals 3 halves. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. We're going to get x equals negative 1. So our solution set for this, for example 2, is going to be negative 1, comma, 3 halves in squirrely brackets. Okay, we have example 3 here, and it's 3x squared minus 6 equals 0. An important thing to notice is when the variable only appears once, it is possible to isolate the variable rather than factoring. So we have just an x one time in this equation, so we're going to isolate the variable rather than factoring. So we're going to just get x by itself. So we're going to add 6 to both sides, and we're going to get 3x squared equals 6. And then we're going to divide both sides by 3. We're going to get x squared equals 2. And now to undo a square, we have to take the square root. So we're going to square root both sides, and we're going to get x equals plus or minus the square root of 2. So the solution set for this, for example 3, is going to be the square root of 2, the negative square root of 2, and the positive version of square root of 2. And that's all going to be in squiggly brackets. And this is how you factor and isolate the variable.